I trade spot and futures on BYDFi, and if you want to set up an account now, send me a message once you've created your account with your username and UID on Telegram, and I'll put you into a randomly selected prize draw. I've got $10, $20 and $50 gift cards to give out, which basically go against your trading fees, giving you free trading fees basically until the gift cards run out. BYDFi.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So we were talking about a bounce yesterday in altcoins, and obviously, you know, Bitcoin's driving this market still, with the dominance chart being pretty much the key to that. We might be finding a bit of a temporary top, a peak, shall we say, maybe for Bitcoin, but I doubt it. And the dominance chart supports that obviously Bitcoin dominance is going to be pretty big. But if you're looking at total market cap 2, so excluding Bitcoin from all of that, then it's basically bouncing on a golden cross retest, that 50 exponential. So this is one of the theories that we've been having for weeks now, that this might happen for altcoins especially. And if it were to happen, we'll have to judge the situation as it occurs. So the first initial dump, I didn't buy anything. Obviously, selling a lot around December. And yeah, yesterday, as I said on the video, looked like a bit of a bouncy day. We'd wicked down to this area. We'd seen buybacks starting, nice wicks growing in the very early hours of the morning, basically yesterday. And it seemed like a reasonable thing to assume a bounce across the board. And at the moment, that's what we're getting. We're getting some serious bouncing across the board now, as Bitcoin broke and made its way to a new local high. Exactly as expected. I know you don't like that, but you might as well say it, because it is what I expected. So now what we're seeing is a battle to reclaim the Bollinger Band Center on the total 2. So this is an overview of all altcoins, right? Are we going to get a V-shaped recovery, as you would normally expect on a divergence play like this? So basically golden cross, first major retest, which we'll call it the second major retest, but first major retest of that 50 exponential. It's certainly not a 200 exponential, which is absolutely going to happen at some point soon. But you know, is it going to happen now? Is this the resistance that's going to take us down to this level? Or do we break it? That's the question. Are we going to break it? So, in order to answer that question, we might as well take ourselves to the lower term time frames, because even though we've got 2 drives of hidden bullish divergence on this, it's not great. So what do we see over here? Okay, fine. This is okay. This is not bad. So 4 hourly above all major moving averages, no pump signals on itchy clouds, no nothing like that. We're not overheated, we're nothing like that. In fact, if anything, we'll be looking to retest maybe this lower zone, the major support basically. So maybe a bit of a pullback today on total market cap to the tune of basically 748 billion. So we'll measure that move out and give us a rough idea of what we're looking at. A 2% from here on total market cap 2. So that could mean one altcoin sees 2%, another altcoin could see 1,000,000% pullback, another altcoin could see, you know, 0.5%. That's what we could be looking at. So basically bullish until further notice. But the major breakout for the total 2 is going to be at the resistance that we're at already. And then that would actually form the V-shaped recovery. And once you've got a V-shaped recovery, you might be looking for a new local high. Operative word being might. I don't know. Not based on what we see right now. We've already got the bounce from yesterday. It's been pretty sweet. To expect further today would be a bit optimistic, a bit over-optimistic, although it can certainly happen. And for that, we'd want to see a daily closure above $780 billion on the market cap. Fine. I'll tell you what we'll look at now, because it's starting to feel a little more interesting today. Let's have a look at the Dixie. So the Dixie, what are you up to? Okay, so the Dixie's reclaimed these areas, so we do look like we're probably going to be moving up a little bit further for the death cross retest on the Dixie here. 2 drives of regular bullish divergence there on the daily that led to that. What's going on over here? So we've already had the death cross retest last week on Dixie, supported on the 50s. So we're getting sandwiched really at this point now between these 2 moving averages. It looks like a symmetrical triangle for Dixie. And so when you have a symmetrical triangle, formation wise it's a 50-50, currently getting rejection on the Bollinger Band Center, so even though it is 50-50, it's a little bit more inclined to break down. You want to see this resolve sooner rather than later, arguably over the next 2, maybe even 3 days at the latest. So this week we'll know if Dixie's going to go on higher or go on lower on the 4 hourly. Based on what I'm seeing at the moment, I would call it ever so slightly in favour of a breakdown, and I mean tiny bit, literally 55%, so ever so slightly below the 50-50 mark, but too early to call on that one, I would say. But generally speaking, there is a trend. The trend is a downtrend. The trend of the downtrend hasn't broken bullish, so we should generally expect it to continue with a downtrend, really. That's what we should expect from it. I think that's what we're going to get from it, but shorter term time frame suggests 50-50. Right, so Bitcoin, what are you going to do today then? So we came down, well, we closed outside of a Bollinger Band on this daily. We got supported on the Bollinger Band itself, so it's pretty bullish stuff now, really. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Bitcoin actually doesn't bother trying to consolidate anymore, and we actually just get that move up to 48,000, where I would be skeptical, really, about holding any positions, because we've already seen a big dump that happened after the new local high. We can see another big dump happen at the suspected local high resistance, right? So do we have any warning signs about that? Let's take ourselves to the 4 hourlies. So previously we seem to be getting pullbacks at the top of the money flow index most of the time. It's not perfect, but most of the time the 4 hourly doesn't like being up at these levels. So we've got a pullback and consolidation here, pullback and consolidation here. Maybe we're going to get a pullback and consolidation here, but I suspect, strongly actually, that we do go on to make a new high, new local high. If we do pull back, we'll be talking $46,000 roughly, 10 exponential, which seems to be the launch pad for this portion of the move. Also, that will be coming in at the wick tops here. So yeah, $46,000 bounce maybe. You lose $46,000, you might end up retracing all the way back down below $45,000. And obviously, if that happens, then you know we should expect more. Not that it will definitely happen, but you know we want to see this move continue sooner rather than later. We don't want to see it dump. There is bearish divergence on the 4 hourly. RSI, which is something to think about. It's not massively pronounced, it's only a single drive, but it does exist, and so if we do consolidate down here, we get another pump and we get a third drive, then I wouldn't really want to stay in anything, to be honest with you. We've more or less reached our overall targets for everything, really, so at that point I'll be pulling the plug on more or less everybody and playing bounces, because I think at that stage we're getting ready to consolidate really in the market overall. So you know, I keep saying it all the time, you know, everybody always wants more. I want more, we all want more, but are we going to get it? And it's a question you've got to ask yourself. Are we going to get it? Well, we might get it. Are we going to pull back? We might pull back. At this point in the market, the risk to reward is not good. You want to see further highs on everything, obviously, but you've always got to base your trades around risk to reward. And this is what I've been saying since December. Risk to reward the whole time. Risk to reward. Bitcoin has only got a little bit further to go up, and it's got more to go down, right? So that's it. It's like, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like when we were trying to guess the bottoms, right? So when this happened, this big dump, you know, my gut instinct told me to buy it, but because it was born in the FUD, I didn't. Similar to what's sort of happening here. ETF stories, you know, we're assuming a top, but we think that top might get broken because of the ETF stories. So I didn't buy this. I bought around 19,000 to start with, and sold as we went up, and then I bought back because it seemed as though the trend had reset around the 21,000 mark, where I basically have been holding ever since. And it more or less marked the bull market, and we've been able to play that appropriately. So guessing a bottom is never precise. You know, I didn't buy the absolute low. I bought a reasonable portion of the low, and I've been having a great time ever since. I don't know the absolute top. I've got an estimate that it's going to be around here, and so taking profit has always been the that's the main thing, isn't it? Really, what's the point in trading if you don't take profit? You've got to take profit. So with that being the top, where's the next low going to be, and how long is it going to take to get there? Well, based on the daily, there's so many areas that you could come down to. We could come down initially to 21%, back down to 38,000. We could come back down to $32,000, which is a 33%. You could even come down to 28,500, which is a 40% retrace. Sounds crazy, does sound crazy, but it's absolutely, completely plausible. We've seen all that happen loads of times before. Just in the last cycle, we saw a much bigger retracement of 55% from wick to wick, and that was before the crash. You know, that was before the March crash. Don't really consider that anything, but you've got to remember that that did happen. That happened because of things outside of this chart. We were consolidating. We more or less bottomed out around here. We were having a great time, and then we had a terrible time, and then we had a really good time. So it's completely your call. Like, I'm not here to tell you the absolute where something is going to happen. I'm letting you know what my trading strategy has been, and it's basically more or less unchanged for a while now. I don't see any reason to change it. It seems like the most appropriate thing to do, really. Bitcoin directs the overall market. Whether you like it or not, it does. The dominance chart is pointing up. There's no peak on the dominance chart yet, so to suggest a rotation at this very moment in time is kind of a little bit naive. And with all of that said and done, we're pretty much feeling like a top is in sight. The one last thing we're going to try to negotiate now would be the money flow index. And what we're seeing at the moment is a brand new candle body. Again, it's only Tuesday. And if we close a candle body like this or higher with a money flow index read like this or lower, that's a single drive of bearish divergence, which has always found either the low or the high on Bitcoin. Double tick, boosh. Double tick, boosh. Find the low. Double tick, boosh. Double tick, oosh. I don't know why I do these stupid sound effects, but I suppose it's just to try and hit the point home, really. There's rhythm on the charts. It is a weekly. It's boring. It's slow. It's not going to get you the the 100x short that you want, but it is, for me, a good reminder of, all right, risk to reward is not great right now. We're pretty much approaching a peak, and with the peak in Bitcoin should likely come the peak in all markets, all crypto. So I'm ruining the day for you, basically. But until we see that, which is going to be a closure of the weekly chart, which is going to be at some point, it's the first second of the first minute Monday morning next week. We're just waiting for it, aren't we, really? And so between now and then, we should probably expect a little bit higher, to be honest, a little bit higher, and then that would be it for me. I will bow out of the market as far as a bull is concerned, and I'll flip bearish on it, to be honest with you. I know, that's disappointing. I don't want to, but I expect that to be the case, and so I have no choice but to be the bear. And I'll be the bear until further notice. I'll probably have a fair bit of time on my hands, because I don't like shorting, really. I'll set up some down token bots. Perhaps I'll buy some major bounces based on weekly trends. And I'll just generally enjoy watching the market come down to levels where I find it more appropriate to buy back for what I'll consider to be the main hodl bags that I already have and that I will stock up on. That'll be the strategy for me. So there's plenty of opportunity in the market. Some of that opportunity is sitting and watching and waiting. And right now we've more or less reached the peak. It's almost time to sit back, watch and wait, and allow the market to reset, to come down to any one of those levels that I've just showed you on the Bitcoin chart. And you can only imagine what that'll do to the altcoin charts. Things might change along the way. We might see a rotation if Bitcoin holds a certain area of value. We might see moves on altcoins later on down the line, but don't really see the signs of that based on the dominance chart. Not at this level. I'll be looking for that a little bit higher, somewhere around here, maybe 58% dominance, maybe up into the 60s, maybe around 62, 63, 64. These are the areas that I'll be most interested in finding any kind of area to rotate from. And I don't know the price of altcoins at that point. We could be higher than where we are right now. We could be lower than where we are right now. I don't know. But when you're looking for that major top up of market cap, that huge volume coming from the big juicy Bitcoin, and that's where it's likely to come from, one of those two areas. And that's where you get a really big, long, sustained alt season, the one that people can't deny. Even though some people have denied this current alt season, the next one, or the one that's generated at those areas, will be undeniable, and they will be long-lasting, several months, day after day, X after X. That's where it's going to come from. And I'll tell you what, wouldn't it be a shame to not take part in that? So you do need to really have some available funds for that, otherwise you can't play it. And my expectation is that that's what's going to happen, and it will happen at some point later on this year, and I want to make sure I got the funds for it, basically. Otherwise I can't play it. Who wants to see hundreds of X's get generated and not have a penny to put in? Not me. I can tell you that much. Not me. Right, so I'll leave it with you there, but thank you for watching. If you want to join the Patreon live stream, we've got one on tonight. We do them on Tuesdays and Fridays. So there's links in the description below. It's only £7.50 a month. You get 2 streams a week. You can't complain with that. But other than that, I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.